Big Blue Thumb Productions presents the Podlie Podcast. Here's your hosts, Podlie Bill, Podlie Cliff, and Podlie Paul.
And good evening, everybody.
Well.
Episode 150.
Holy Joseph, Batman, 150. That's crazy.
Got this empty chair beside me. Apparently, he's on his way.
Apparently.
So we should see him soon, I would expect. So let's get over to our comments here, because I know that comment started early tonight.
All right, you guys, but we got to tell them, though, to make sure you say it's about time he showed up. Because every time you guys are late, what do I say? It's about time he showed up.
It's
right?
about time you showed up.
So you got to tell that to Podlie, okay? Hi, all.
Look at this, Marvin in.
3,500 points.
3,500 Marvin. And we were talking off air there, Cliff. Marvin says, hi, Podlie. We're trying to figure out what is actually a Podlie.
Yeah, can somebody tell me what a Podlie is?
William Seltzer in, and William Kirkland. Both Williams are
The
in.
Williams.
Cheryl Seltzer.
There we go. 2,500 points for William and 1,500 points for William Kirkland. And Cheryl, a big fat duck's egg. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
But just so you know, the points don't mean anything. So technically, a duck's egg would be valued higher. Great.
Yeah, sometimes those things, happen. But it's amazing how people get in here so early. Like that Marvin and William were in here like 10 minutes before we even started.
That's crazy. Well. Check it out.
Look who's finally here.
Safe.
Finally here. Nobody can hear you
Podlie.
right now because you're not mic'd, but just so you know.
Hate to break it to you, Podlie, but I have to say this, buddy. About time you showed up.
Yeah, it's about time you showed up.
Safe at home. Hi.
You know this starts at 8, right?
Hi. F off. Hi.
Hello. How are you?
Hi. So here's the thing. Hi, everybody. Thank you. Apologies to everybody for me being late.
Even Lily.
Hello, Leslie Ann.
Look what William says.
That's what we said, William.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks,
buddy.
That's awesome.
It's one of those things where, when you tell somebody to be there at 7:30, they're there at 7:30.00. But if they've never been there before,
Right, exactly.
They didn't know where to go.
they didn't know where, but they don't keep that. They don't take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Right. So, but we're here.
Where was the game?
Right by the murder. It was right by the murder. It was right by Millwoods. Yeah, it was right by the.
Beckett's playing a game in Millwoods tonight.
Where is he?
I don't know. It's in Millwoods. I don't know what field. So that's my grandson. And again, if you didn't know, he's got a baseball game in Millwoods tonight as well.
Practice for my boy. But
Nice.
yeah. Well,
Which boy?
Ja. Number 2. First practice. Second practice. It's been rained. It's been raining the whole time.
Cool.
Yeah,
So,
put that on there.
apologies, guys. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. And I forgot we're using these microphones. So I'll put it on a t-shirt and
That
let's
works.
slowly let the t-shirt go way me down.
It still works.
It still works.
It still works. It works good.
So, as I mentioned, I just got off the ball diamond. Anybody want to smell my finger?
No,
Not particularly. No.
It smells like leather, dudes.
no, that's fine.
What the hell are you
That's
guys
fine.
thinking?
If you say so.
You can keep your finger to yourself there, Paul.
Yeah.
Smells like baseball, boys.
And if you need a finger, I'd be happy to give you one.
After that comment, so would most other people.
I didn't know you could make your finger smell
Oh,
like baseball.
I'm having a cookie.
Where where do you put that finger during a
wow.
baseball game? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Anyway, now that we're all here, how was the week there, Mr. Cliff?
That was good. It was good.
I'll talk to you first because you were here well on time.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Some people have a more commitment than dedication to the task at hand.
Yeah.
Week was good. Fast. My God, it's just like zing, it's gone,
Goes
right?
through quick.
It goes it's crazy. And then the weekend was really good. Sunday, Jeremy and Andrea came out and brought my 2 favorite little kidlets.
Nice.
And because Andrea was playing some soccer in Leduc too, so we went and babysat our two godchildren. Had a lot of fun with them. Tortured my godson. He's 3. Absolutely tortured him, which is always fun.
Nice.
So that was great. And but let me tell you something: when you don't have kids, i.e., me, and you get to be my age, i.e. me, and you're about as sedentary as it gets, i.e. me, and then you go
Are you talking about you?
and then you go,
What are you talking about?
I know. And then you go and start playing with a 3-year-old and throwing him up in the air and chasing him and everything else. Yeah, it's so funny because later on you feel like somebody just beat the living daylights
that's why
out
you're
of you.
looking so damn svelte today.
I know, right?
That's why.
That was your workout.
True to form, I became a dad at 37. And Cliff, I know exactly what you mean.
It's crazy.
Brother, I know exactly what you mean. I became a dad for the first time at 37.
Yeah.
48 now, just got off the baseball diamond. I feel like I'm gonna die right now. I really do. I feel like I'm gonna die right now.
You have to do what I was 20. We were 22 when I had it first.
Best thing to do, man. Get it over when you're young.
Having a
Now I work
choice
out
to do it over.
Now I work out on the treadmill, which people can't see.
Which people can't see. It's right there.
Treadmill and the Bowflex and stuff. It's over. Yeah. Over to the other side here. So,
but yeah, it was funny because I tortured him, right? So of course, and he's so funny. So this is not a long story, but he always at his house he grabs these foam things, those foam mats that you have.
Yeah.
He grabs one side of it and he goes up to his dad and he goes hatak, right? and of course he expects his dad to joust with him with the foam.
Yeah.
So I'm walking along with him and he's walking like this. He's marching and he's so bloody cute, He's like he's marching. So I got in front of him and I went, Rowan, so then him and I go into each other going, and then he comes and he goes, hatak, and I lift him up and throw him around. It's just so hilarious.
Yeah.
So last night when I was lying down, I told Leslie, I feel like I've been hataked.
Hatak me.
Yeah.
Such a cute kid.
Hatak.
Yeah, such a cute kid.
Yeah, I miss those days.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right?
I'm still in those days, but they change so
fast,
damn fast. Cliff,
fast. My God.
Oh my gosh. Oh, what? So you, all of your kids are grown.
Yes.
Do you miss that time where they?
Oh yeah, I miss when they were little and you had the running around and the playing and the.
Would you have it back?
And the picking them up.
Would you change the place? Would you go back to those days?
And right now, in all honesty, probably not. Because now I've got, you miss that time when they're little and they're running around doing all that kind. But now that they're older and all doing their own thing, now you follow what they're doing in their own life, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You're following that.
And grandchildren. You got grandchildren.
I got grandchildren.
But even Beckett's now getting.
He's going to be taller than me soon. So.
Bill, everybody's taller than you, dude. Just like
everybody's taller than all of us on this podcast. Yeah. So
that's why Bill got these high chairs.
Yeah, I got higher chairs, so we stand out a little bit more. We're not.
But you'll notice it's like.
Look, we're pretty even.
We're pretty even. I noticed that the other day. We're pretty even.
Yeah. So why is it that it's only the bald guy that doesn't have a hat?
That's a good question.
You would think that the bald dude would have the hat and the other two would be showing off their Goldilocks.
I only had the hat on today because I was out doing a bit of running around. I had a doctor's appointment this morning.
You ran to your doctor's appointment?
I did.
Did you have to
all
cough?
the way in the West End. Yeah.
Did you have to bend over and cough?
No, I used my baseball finger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smell my finger.
Smell my finger. I use my baseball finger. That's going to be a new Podlie standard.
I use my baseball finger. But this is not smell-o-vision. Sorry.
This is not smell-o-vision.
That was good. Smell my finger.
Bill.
Well, it's getting out of control here.
Right then.
Anyway, how was
smell like leather?
How was your week?
You know who I met, boys? Do you know who I met this weekend? Peter Dickout.
Oh.
I met Peter Dickout this weekend.
Cool.
Peter Dickout, former, he used to be a friend of he still is a friend of the Podlie podcast, but he used to join us every week for every week and week. Well,
Did you ask him?
I didn't get much of a chance. Yes and no. I didn't get much of a chance. Well, he just came off a performance, so I saw him. He was performing in Leduc.
Question.
Yeah, first question I would ask.
He was
good performance.
Well, I didn't know it was him at first.
Podcast?
I didn't know it was. I mean, I recognized the name, but I'm like, are you this? Anyway.
You should have said to him, listen, Peter, get a clue.
Yeah.
You should have said, get a clue.
By the way, the play was called Clue.
Oh, look at that. Boy, I tell you.
The name of the play.
That must have been a prescient comment from me then.
Look at that. What was the clue? Boys, I met Peter Dickout. Nice guy. Nice guy.
He comes across that way, yeah.
Yeah, nice. I'll tell him you said that too.
That's right. I just got to jump in here really quick because I like Marvin's comment. So if you look where your head is and that what's behind you, it does look like you have hair.
Hey,
sometimes.
dude, look at that. I have hair right there. That's awesome. Marvin, dude, that's freaking awesome. Look,
Marv, that's awesome, buddy.
There's a
Marv
tree.
says, now I can't
hold on,
unsee it.
hold on.
You totally got the Costanza hair right now.
I got this Costanza hair.
You got the Costanza hair. That's
Costanza hair.
awesome.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
That's
Yes.
awesome. Oh my gosh.
Because he's getting angry.
Oh my gosh.
Marvin,
boys.
that's awesome, dude.
Oh.
That's my new thing. Cliff. He's getting angry.
Marv, thank you. Marv,
Yeah,
Marv.
we caught that.
Marv.
I never even realized
1,000 points for you, Marv, just for that.
There we go, 1,000
Marv,
points.
That's 1,000 points for you, Marv.
That's awesome, dude.
Because you're damn right. So I can't unsee it now either.
All right, well, have fun looking at it, guys. And if you need me to move left or right, just let me know, okay?
Man, oh man. How else am I doing? Parents are gone this week. They're in Mexico.
Oh, nice.
So
Lucky
fantastic.
people, lucky
love
people.
it. Love it. They're very good. They're in.
Mexico.
I want to say no, they're in Cabo. I think they're in Cabo.
Down in Mexico.
Anyway, I'm down in Mexico, but which is wonderful. So happy for them. But now it's kind of just me with the kids, right?
Right.
And all of so. This is apparently what I wear to baseball. To playing, by the way, baseball.
You get pretty dressed up for baseball.
I legitimately, because I just got off of work, picked Ja up, went straight to the diamond. I haven't been home yet. So anyway, cool. I am good. It's going to be a very busy next couple of weeks. Very happy Mother's Day. Belated to each and every one of our mama friends.
To all you mother.
Very happy Mom's Day. Yeah. Very happy Mom's Day. Yeah, I'm good.
And you, Bill?
Excellent.
I'm tired. You guys talk. I'm tired.
Good, busy, again, pretty busy work week, which was really good. And as we were saying before we came on air, I have motorcycle lessons coming up on Friday. Both Chai and I do. So I spent Sunday night, 2 hours online with the head instructor of the company and a whole bunch of other people that are all taking classes. It's going through a whole bunch of safety orientation and information and that kind
well,
of
that's
thing.
neat, because you do that, now you have more ride time when you get there.
We do. So, and we're there all day. And so now we've got more ride time.
You're going to love it. You're going to love it. You and Chai are going to
Friday.
be...
How's Chai feel?
About riding?
Yeah. Actually, is Chai on? I'm going to ask Chai.
I haven't
Chai,
seen if she's on yet. But I know last week she had a little trouble signing in, she said. So I don't know if she's attempting to sign in. But anyway, no, she's looking forward to it. She did make the comment on our online training app. She said, I probably won't actually drive it very much, but going for the training. And then the instructor said, well, he said that he's had wives say that before.
Yeah. And
he said, don't worry. He said, in a few months, you'll have a second bike because they're going to be wanting to ride on their own.
I'll bet.
It is.
I'll bet.
And I tell you,
did that happen for you guys? Did that happen for you?
No. My wife. She just wants to ride in the back. It's really something with her. She says it's very zen.
Yeah.
For her to ride in the back.
You said that before.
Yeah. And she's not interested in being the pilot and worrying about traffic and all. And then of course I'm like, I'm glad you trust me, right? And that's really cool because she trusts me implicitly. She says, well, what could I do? I mean, so she doesn't yell, she doesn't go, oh my God, look at that. Yeah. None of that happens because to her, that's counterproductive. In the car, it's a different story.
Yeah.
I'll be driving, she'll be on her phone.
Yeah.
And of course, I've seen it 15 minutes ago, the danger, right? I'm exaggerating.
Yeah.
And then she'll look up and she'll go, and then of course, right next to her, the girly man goes, what did I do, right? and so we have somewhat of a rule now. It's like you cannot be on your phone in the passenger seat while I'm driving, or you can look up, you can do anything you want, but you can't go.
That's a good rule.
I've had that happen to me in our car.
That's a good rule.
Driving and then Chad will also go. I go, what did I do?
Meanwhile, I've had the situation under control. Of course.
Yeah.
But she didn't know because it's the first time she saw it, but I've been paying attention. You haven't, right?
That's a good rule.
But yet, it's so different on the motorcycle. She sits back there and I'm like, are you there, honey? It's like, and it's just great because I put the signal light on, everything else, and I asked her, do you want to communicate?
Yeah.
Not interested. She just wants to sit there.
It's perfect.
It's perfect, right? And so
that's great.
Until further notice, and I keep asking, I even asked her about the trike thing. If she wants to do it, I told her, we can do it. And I told her I'll teach her on my bike if she wants, and then we can go from there. I told her I'll buy her an automatics bike.
Yeah.
All kinds of options. She thinks about it for a while and goes, no, I think I'd just like to ride in the bike.
That's great.
I love it, man. I love it.
That's great.
Yeah,
Good for you, boys. I think that's great.
But Bill, you're gonna have so much fun. And I was just saying this offline here. At the beginning, you're worried about the bike and you're worried about the traffic, because it's normal. It's something new. But man, I tell you, once you get out there, and I'm telling them, we know why it's addicting us people who started riding motorcycles, maybe late, even like me. It's addicting because you're out there in the open and you're out there in the wild. I mean, there is literally nothing between you and the rest of the environment. It's so addicting. So I'm happy for you guys. I think you're gonna have a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, no, we're excited and looking forward to it. We'll definitely report back on. Monday night we have. I guess Monday night is the 22nd, so I guess we have to our audience. It's the long weekend. Are we doing it Monday night or because who's here?
I haven't thought that far ahead,
but we'll have to.
I'll have to check my schedule.
But as we look at episodes, I just wanted to quickly go back to episode 149, which was last week, and we had Cheyenne as a guest. But I just wanted to let everybody know. So for the replays of that episode, we're now like well over 58 or 59. It's the most watched episode we've ever had.
Oh, hey, that's great.
Even after the fact. So the most watched episode after the fact that we've ever had.
Love it.
So
well, that's awesome. So
that's kind of cool.
So if you're listening to this episode and you did not see the previous episode, I suggest you go look at it, but also the one prior to that, because that was the catalyst.
Yeah.
So episode 148 was the catalyst for last week's episode 149. Right. And of course, if you go look at both of those, it'd be awesome. So if you're not here today and you're listening to this later on Sound Sugar Radio on Friday, let's say something like that. Go and have a listen and go and view it actually with the comments, right, guys? Yes. Because the comments are really interesting to watch when they come in live time along with the show.
So it is up on YouTube twice. And the reason for that is there's the replay version because we weren't on this past Monday night.
Yeah.
So because of that, we had the replay up of 149. Yeah. And when you put a replay up, I can only do maximum an hour, and that episode actually went over an hour. So I had to cut the intro and the extra off it. And so it doesn't play back fully with all the comments. So if you're going to go to YouTube and watch it, make sure you watch the full episode of 149, because then you'll get all the comments and you can see everything that's happening.
And toggle the live chat.
Yeah.
So that way it comes in as you're watching the show. So, okay. Anyway.
Yeah. So just before we get to our topic tonight, Marvin is saying, I once popped down to Montana to see what it was like to ride 180 kilometers an hour without a helmet.
Wow.
Yes, young and stupid, but legal. Yeah, it is legal in Montana. You don't need to wear a helmet.
So Marv, maybe what you can share your feelings in adjective form about what it feels like going 180 kilometers an hour
without a helmet.
Without a helmet.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
I've been that speed with a helmet.
With a helmet.
Without a windshield. But I've not been that speed. No. I had the small windshield. Scratch that. Because I was on my Magna. I had the small windshield. So I've been that speed, but not without a helmet.
Yeah.
I don't know if a helmet will do you a damn bit of good at that speed.
No,
a regular helmet.
I would have. Yeah, I'd have
like a regular helmet. I like maybe the motor helmet that the boys wear for motor racing.
Yeah.
Maybe, but really just a normal regular helmet. I can't see that.
It makes me think of Marvin says, I really needed my goggles. Yeah, I'm sure your eyes were just like that in the back of your head.
Oh, yeah.
Makes me think of the old video of Evel Knievel trying to jump Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. Right?
Yep.
When he landed on the second ramp and went off his bike and his body's just flopping along the road.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
He broke almost every bone in his body.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm amazed you didn't wear goggles, Marvin. That's crazy, man, because I can't even imagine doing 100 kilometers an hour with no glasses, because your eyes would just flutter.
Yeah, visor or glasses, right?
Yeah, without glasses or without eye protection of some kind.
Yeah.
For heaven's sakes, without a helmet, your whole mouth would be doing
His whole face is contorted.
Yeah, you'd be like a pit bull outside, the window of the car. You ever see pictures like that?
Yes. The tongue's hanging out.
And I legitimately know that from skydiving. So I mean, I don't know going this way on a motorcycle, but I know going this way down. And you're damn right. It's like and there's saliva. Right? And so legitimately, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good for you, Marvin. That you.
Oh, you did wear goggles. He said, "Oh, yeah, okay." Sorry, I misunderstood your previous comment.
Oh, yeah. So did I. Yeah. I thought that when you said I really needed my goggles, I thought that meant you didn't.
Oh, that's what I thought. That's what.
Yeah. Sorry, misunderstood you. But yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, he wore his Googles.
It's good. His goggles. His googly wooglies.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and for those of you who
Good to
don't
be
know, that's where Google got its name from. The actual English word is goggle, and of course, but it didn't sound as good, so they changed it to Google. And look at what a company they became.
yeah. So for all of you that are just tuned in, and I see some aren't here tonight. Maybe I haven't seen Laura, so I'm assuming maybe she's back at her karaoke competition tonight. Who knows?
Maybe.
Before we get to the next comment, though, I'll throw up what our topic idea, and I'll explain why I came up with this. And Cliff has a bunch of topics too, which I'm going to get to starting next episode. But so, is it good to allow kids to be in competitions, sports, etc., where they won't always win, or should there be no winners or losers, and they're all winners? So,
I love this topic.
This came about in a conversation that I was having with a couple of people last week, actually, and somebody said you should have a Battle of the Bands at the Ravenwood Music Festival. And I had said that we'd actually had discussed that about a year or so ago, but a couple of people on the board were against it because they feel that if those bands or the kids that lose are going to feel bad, not feel good about themselves,
right,
etc. And there shouldn't be any type of competition. Like everybody should be able to go ahead and go forth. So my whole comment to that was, and you guys may agree with me, you may not agree with me, the audience may agree with me or may not agree with me, but I've grown up since probably about 10 years old playing competitive sports. Hockey and football and some rugby as well. So that's been my whole life, has been on a team playing sports since I was yay high. And for me, competition, especially when you got into the higher levels, where I was playing in levels where now you're trying out, now you're in those competitive levels for sure. Playing on a team and in that type of level, and I'm going to throw in acting in here as well, because having been an actor, which we all have been, and you're auditioning, etc.
That's competition.
That's competition. I don't know how in 30 plus years of acting, I've had probably thousands of auditions that I have not got.
Great.
We work in sales, Cliff. I have worked in sales.
Yeah, how many sales
you get rejected every day?
Yep.
So part of this, even on the sports idea, is you're not going to win every game. So for me, I think that losing makes you stronger.
Education.
Failure
Experience.
makes you better. You learn from failure. You learn from losing. So if you don't win the game, you're going to feel bad. You're not going to feel great that you didn't win, but then you figure out, okay, didn't win this time. What do we got to do better to win next time? What do I have to do to improve myself to win next time? And then you move on and you go forth with that, right?
So you would say, Bill, that the winning is just as much motivation to get better as the losing.
So for me, I think it's important to have kids involved in competitions, because I think it helps them from a younger age learn that through life, you're never going to win everything. You're going to fail at things. Not everything's going to be perfect, right? There are times you are, like I said, you're going to fail whether even in your work life or whatever the case might be.
Right.
Something may happen where you
lose
a job or
go for job interviews.
Yeah.
I mean, so some companies in the past, I don't know about now, but certainly in the past, I've gone against job interviews where there's been 150 other applicants.
Yeah.
Right. That's a competition.
Yeah. You go to multiple job interviews and you don't get anything. So how do you handle that? And I know that there are some leagues out there at some of the ages that have gone to, for an example, if there's a tournament, everybody wins.
Right.
So everybody gets the ribbon. Everybody gets this little trophy. Everybody. And I have talked to a few people, even in the Hockey Association, about that, who are against that in the fact, again, because they said I want my kids to learn. They lost, okay, they lost, and yet you, like I said, you feel bad. You lost. You failed at whatever you're working on. Everybody's going to feel bad for that time period. But turn it around and see what you can do with yourself to make yourself better. How you can learn to get better, and maybe you can go out again next time, and all of a sudden you're a winner.
You're a winner.
Hey, Bill. Just give me a second. I'm making a call to the Oilers right now. Hang on. Hang on. Let me just make this call to the Oilers. Can I get that on tape, Bill, please? That'd be great.
So Leslie Ann says all new job hires are competitive, promotions are competitive, even school scholarships, everything is competitive. So when I hear people, and like I said, there was a couple of other people who had said the same thing when I brought up having a competition way back to determine who would play, which kids would play on the Ravenwood stage. The one thought I had was, we have a competition, a few months before, and we invite all sorts of young bands to come out and play, and then we pick the 2 or 3 winners, and they get to come play on our stage, and that's how we would kind of come on.
I like that.
So that'll be the audition.
Right?
Audition.
It's like an audition process, but there was a few people at that point who stepped up and said, no, we're not. I don't want my kids having to compete to get in, because they're going to feel horrible if they don't get in.
Right.
Well, yes, they probably will for a short time. I think we all have had that.
And then
especially
practice to get better.
Yeah, especially if you're going something, if in acting, if you're going for that part, and you think, oh, I'm perfect for this part. I really want this part. And you work forever getting ready for that audition, and you prepare, and you go into the audition gung ho, and you come out of it thinking, I felt great.
That felt
that
good,
was an awesome audition, and then you don't get a call back. You don't
Didn't
get.
Yeah, but everybody's gone through that. Same as jobs.
Yeah.
Everybody's
So what I'm saying, it's the same though, right? Like you go into that hockey game, or you go into that battle of the bands competition, like you just said, the band doesn't win, but so let's go back and rehearse some more. We'll compete again next year. Maybe next year we'll be in the top 3 or whatever it is, right?
Leslie Ann says entrance requirements for most post-secondary is competitive. There's only X number of spots for new students. William Seltzer, nice to see you, William Seltzer, says, I find that being a part of a team, whether it be sports, volunteering, etc., teaches so many translatable skills that will be beneficial when hitting the workforce. And I from coming, William, I love this comment, because coming from a person who facilitates job skills to emotionally, mentally, and physically barriered people, 100. Now, here's a stat. According to my syllabus, each and every human being on this earth have, on average, 500 skills.
Interesting.
500 skills. Now, walking is considered a skill, but if you think about it, not everybody can walk, so it's a skill.
Well, you have to learn,
right?
And
you got to learn.
All
it's
of
a
us
skill.
have to
You got to learn,
walk,
right? But on average, we have 500 skills. Okay, volunteering teaches us so many translatable skills that will be beneficial when hitting the workforce. That, William Seltzer, is exactly what I'm trying to teach my participants at class. And volunteer and go to church. Well, if you are that type, don't go to church if you're not, but go to do social things like that. That's what I'm trying to say. Do social things like that.
Right.
Okay. Because you know what? A, you're going to help people. You're going to join a sports team. You're going to, B, you're going to help yourself. And C, the skills that you are going to get, boys, are incredible. They're incredible. And they're directly translatable to jobs. They're directly translatable to relationships.
To life.
They're directly translatable to overall life. Yep. William, well done. I couldn't agree more.
Leslie Ann says recitals are not competitive. And then she also says exhibition games keep score but don't count for anything. That is true to a point, Leslie Ann. I can tell you that in sports that I've been involved in playing, and also, of course, my grandson is heavily involved in hockey now, that yes, they do have exhibition games, but a lot of the reason for those exhibition games, especially at the level like that my grandson's at, those are now grading games. So yeah, the actual game doesn't count for anything, but the actual game itself counts for where that player could be placed, because there's actually coaches and scouts in the stands that are sitting there with their pads marking everything down. So the score doesn't matter, but
your point is taken, Leslie. Your point is taken.
You understand what you're saying.
Point is definitely taken. And just to expand on what Bill was saying, even in the NHL, they'll call up their draft picks, and they'll call up their minor league players to play in the exhibition games, but it's not for nothing. They're being watched and they're being placed.
The score at that point doesn't matter who wins or loses, really.
But the coaches want to see them in action, right?
Yeah, it's an evaluation time.
But again, to Paul's comment, the point is definitely taken, Les Ann.
Yeah, for sure.
So Paul, Bill is clearly articulated well. where he stands basically. What about you?
So let me share this story. It came out of the sports news, but I want to say about 7 years ago. Adrian Peterson, NFL player. Okay. He's going to make the Hall of Fame. Brilliant. Played for the Minnesota Vikings. I believe, if memory serves, he was a running back. The guy is built like a brick. You know what? He has got head and like he's huge. Anyways, son got a medal for participation, and this was in the news about 7-8 years ago. The news was that Adrian Peterson turned around because he was in the crowd watching his son, asked his son to give back the medal. It was a participation medal. It was not a first, second, third place medal. And Adrian Peters says, you know what? He didn't earn it.
I heard this story. Now that you talk about it,
he didn't earn it. Yeah. He didn't earn it. You get a medal for showing up? Well, yeah. I don't know. I show up at work, but I still got to do my gig.
You get paid.
I still got to get. So I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of with Adrian Peterson on this one, you guys. I think you have to earn it. I really, really do. If losing hurts, we all know that losing hurts. But to everybody's point here, it's going to teach you to get that much better physically, because you're going to get stronger, you're going to get faster, you're going to get quicker. It's going to allow you to be stronger mentally, and it's going to allow you to get stronger emotionally, to deal with the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of sports, of competition, of life. And it's going to help the person to help other people.
Yeah,
that's what I think. I think don't give my kids no participatory thing.
Yeah,
because great, we showed up, we brought sliced oranges and a cookie for everybody. Well, so
on that point, on Paul's point. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the middle of the podcast.
nice boy. And I actually hope the one person that was involved in this conversation last week is usually a viewer of the podcast.
Oh, nice.
Actually. And I'm not seeing that person on here, and I was kind of hoping they would be, because I'd like to hear from their side. To why, again, they're really totally against having any type of competition for kids, because they feel that, again, as I've already
they're
said,
against having competitions for kids.
They don't think kids should be in a competitive thing because, again, the kids are going to feel bad because they didn't win. The other kids won, they didn't.
But they would be okay with participation medals, though, if everybody participated.
I'm assuming so. That they're not
by
here.
extension, you'd think that would be the belief.
You would think that they would probably say, yeah, if there was 20 kids competing and only 5 were going to make the top 5 or whatever, and the other 15 didn't make it, as long as they all got their participation medal, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Cliff?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about this.
You've got some kids now there.
I know, right? And that's interesting to me. And when I was driving here, I thought to myself, I don't know how you guys feel about this, and I don't mean anything by it, but I thought to myself, whatever is the consensus, I'm going to take the opposite. I'm going to debate the opposite. Just because I would love to explore it, and it's precisely for that reason, Bill, is because I do have godchildren, and when I had so much fun on Sunday playing my little 3-year-old godson, it was fantastic, and I'd love to see him involved in sports, and I'd love to see him do well in sports, because he's got this drive. He's like a little boy, and he's all boy, right? And then I haven't seen Julia yet; she's only tiny, but I'm assuming she's going to be just like that. She's a all girl, and she's going to go in there, and I can't wait. So it interests me. Again, now that after so many years that I'm hanging around little kids again. So I thought to myself, what are the benefits or what are the not? And one of the first things I did, one of my favorite sports writers from way back in the early century, his name was Rice. I can't think of his name. Grantland Rice. Excellent reporter for the New York Times. He wrote, unlike other sports writers, he wrote a lot in prose. Like he's very language. And I think it was him, I don't quote me on this, but I think it was him who said that when the great scorer, meaning the great scorer, comes to write the mark beside your name, he will note not whether you won or lost, but how you played the game.
Yep, that's a big saying, a famous saying.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Grantland Rice that wrote that. And I thought about that, and I thought to myself, that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
And I'll caveat this by saying, what about ages? Because I would agree with you when it comes to adult sports to say that we need a winner and a loser, a definitive winner or a loser. But there are arguments for young children. I don't know where the break is. I don't know where the cutoff is.
Right.
It could be 5, it could be 10, it could be 13, it could be 15. I don't know where the break is. But a couple of advantages, let's say, about giving out participation medals. I'll do a scenario. All right. Suppose Podlie, your son Han, he got into hockey. Let's say, whatever the case may be. Okay. Sorry, I just want to back up one little thing. In psychology, there's the intrinsic and the extrinsic, right? What motivates you from the inside? What motivates you from the outside?
Right.
So in younger children, psychology will tell us, I mean, I said grade 12 psychology, so I don't know these things, folks. But nonetheless, psychology will tell us that younger children are externally motivated. In other words, they're people pleasers. They want to please their parents. They want to please their siblings, etc. Maybe not siblings, but the older siblings. So they're externally motivated. Okay, keep that information aside. Adults are internally motivated, intrinsically motivated, right? So for Podlie, suppose Han, then he got into a sport, I don't know, badminton, let's say, and he got in there and he played his heart out. Nothing happened. He lost terribly, blah, blah, blah. Perhaps his motivation to come back and continue playing the sport is now diminished to the point where he's not going to do it. Okay, so now, so like I said, it's age, right?
Yep.
So now what happens is, instead of giving that child the time to explore, and how do you do that? By saying, hey, listen, buddy, glad you showed up. This is awesome. You know, hey, you didn't win. I mean, you know what? But tell you what, you came, you gave it your best. We saw how you played. You know what? You deserve this for coming and participating and being a part of this sport. Now, what that's going to do is, because children are externally motivated or extrinsically validated, it's going to validate him, and perhaps it's going to buy a little time till he'll come back and try it again. And he'll come back and try it again. What happens is, he comes back and try it again, and it might actually be the sport for Han. But it just might take a little time to get there. All of a sudden, when he starts winning, right, as he gets older, now the winning becomes important. And as he gets older, now you go from extrinsic motivation to intrinsic motivation. So now he plays because he wants to get better. Now he plays because he wants to be a better player, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the participation medals that were given to him during that formative stage has facilitated his progress in the sport. What do you think of that?
So I don't, maybe this sounds a little bit of a contradiction actually, but having said that, yes. So in the, I'm going to go to hockey for an example, because involved with the grandson. So at the lower levels, when you're dealing with those young kids that are just getting into the game, they're just learning how to play the game. Now I know that your son started a little bit later, but for those kids that are starting like at the ages 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever the case might be, at those levels, so when those kids are playing, there is no win and loss. So those kids are learning how to play the game. They play a game on half ice, and it's just fun. The coaches are out there. There's no referees, and they play back and forth, and they have their jerseys on, and they get to feel what it's like to be part of a team, and get to learn, you know, how to skate a little bit better, and have some. It's no big deal if you score or not. Who cares? And so so for those age groups, for sure, because you don't, at that point you're dealing with a young mind, right? So if you've got a 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 year old or whatever,
so where would be the cutoff for you?
So I can tell you that in hockey, probably where it really jumps up is when they start getting into the U13 and into the U15 and up, because like under that age there is still tiering, but when they get into the U13, now it's becoming a lot more competitive, because now you've got kids that have been skating since they're 5 or 6 years old, so it really jumps up. At the level of football, I was a football coach for 12 years out here in the county. There's Adam. There's 3 levels. There's Adam, Pee-wee, and Bantam are the 3 football levels. So your Adam levels don't really try out per se. They're the young guys that want to come out. They're first-year football players or whatever the case. They're there to learn the game. They're little. They're 10, whatever. I can't remember exactly what the ages are. Pee-wee level starts to change, so now the kids are starting to try out for the teams if required. In Bantam level, it's full tryout at that point. So
so when it comes to the crux of the matter, participation medals versus win-lose, right? Because you talk about the different levels, banding levels, etc., and I get that, and it makes sense to me. But consider a moment that if you have 10 kids, even they're all at 13 years old, the levels of development their stages of development
so different.
are so vastly different that you could have. No, I just want to make this point here because you could have Han. Let's say, how old is Han, Paulie?
He'll be 11 on the 4th.
All right, so 11-year-olds. You got 10, 11-year-olds, 10, 11-year-olds, and you have Han over here.
Yeah.
And for argument's sake, let's say his developmental stage, because his dad has been working with him since he was 2 and blah, blah, blah. And he's a brilliant badminton player, as I was talking earlier.
Yeah.
But then you have the other 9 of them with varying degrees of development.
Yeah.
So what happens is if you go to a participation style reward, what happens is you get now these 10 kids on a level. Speaking about intrinsic motivation, you get these 10 kids now on a similar level, so that they get time to fully develop and maybe become good at the sport that they maybe were destined to play.
So football, it doesn't happen this way. In hockey, it does. So in hockey, what they do is they have tiers. So out in our league, where I am, they have 6 tiers. So there's 6 levels. So when the kids get into like U12 and which means under 12 and U13, under 13, my son Beckett's now moving into U15.
Well, they even tier at U11.
Sorry, U11.
They tier at U11.
So they tier. So what happens? Okay. So when I was mentioning those exhibition games before, where they have being evaluated. So again, for those kids, say that maybe come in like at Han's age, or maybe they're already 11 years old, and they're coming into a league where there's kids that have been skating since they're 6 years old. So those exhibition games determine where those kids fit. So there might be kids in that game that outskating everybody, so they're going to get moved up to tier 1. Those kids that are just learning, they will go down to tier 6.
But hold on though,
and play the tier 6 level.
But you're still discussing and debating and deciding under the within the circle of competition. The tier system is a competition itself. What we're saying, or what the argument on the other side is saying, is that when you show up, even though if you're terrible, or if you're brilliant, you get some sort of recognition via a medal, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to call it. But the tier system is a competition. So you're using a competition. You're using a competition to corroborate your assertion that competition is good. I don't think that's fair, because you're using competition to say competition is good. So I don't know that I sort of agree with that argument, because that's like saying we do this because we do this, right? So what I'm saying is, what if we didn't have that competitive environment? What if we didn't have the tiers? What if we just had all 11-year-olds, let's say?
But I think, Cliff's, people have to have something to strive for.
I agree. Maybe they're striving for the medal, for the participation medal, for the fun of it. Maybe. No, that's just an argument, right?
No, and I'm with you on that. But I don't think U9s, U11s know that. U13s even know that yet. I think they are striving for the gold. I think they're striving for the carrot. I don't think they're striving for anything intrinsic. I don't think U13 and under.
No, at that age it's all extrinsic.
It's all extrinsic. That's it.
Okay, but that's my point though. If it's extrinsic, then what they need is validation.
That 100%. 100%.
Right? And if you 100%. Go home, if you have a game and you got 10 kids and all 10 kids go home, 9 kids go home and one child is the winner, right? And the other 9 kids go home, without that external or extrinsic validation of saying, hey, listen, I'm glad you showed up, and you being a part of this game was a significant contribution to the whole game overall, right? Without that, 8 of those kids might not show up next week, or 7 of those kids might not show up next week. Now, again, Bill, like to your point, the age becomes, where the age is, I cannot discuss. I don't know. But I guess my assertion would be, at a certain age, until a certain age, perhaps competitive sports, as far as medals go, is not the way. And I'm not, like I said, I'm just taking a different tack to try and understand the situation, right?
No, and that's fine for sure. And like I said, in different sports, baseball, for an example, when the kids are young, everybody just plays. Right. And everybody gets to play, and they still do it on Beckett's team now. They get to play all the different positions. Same
as John.
So each game you might be playing different positions. So
Yeah.
you're learning the game,
and there is merit in that.
So we were at baseball practice today, and legitimately, to Bill's point, that was Ja played back catcher. He pitched, he batted, he played outfield, and he played the infield. He played everything today.
Yeah.
For an hour and a half, almost 2 hours actually.
It's kind of like an exhibition game because the coach is going to find out what he's good at.
100%.
But and that is actually to my point, because now he got to play everything, he got to participate, and now he's been given that extra time. What if he was only allowed to play back catcher because he was the shittiest back catcher? Because he was the best back catcher, or let's say he was never allowed to play back catcher because he was the shittiest back catcher.
Yeah.
Then meanwhile he loved to back catch. Then hey, next time around he's not going to show up. He goes, well, if I can't back catch, then what's the point? That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he has not had the time to gain his skill and be molded into that back catcher that's going to be the highly competitive person.
And I think where it probably affects kids most is when they get out of that, when you start hitting that like 10 years old, 11 years old type range in most sports, and so those kids that are, like I said, the 5 to 10 range or whatever the case might be, they're going to be able to have fun, and there's no competition, and they all get ribbons, and at that point, let them have that, because they got to have fun, they got to learn what they're doing, and still saying that even at the U12 level, like when we talk about a tier 6 level, there's nothing wrong with being in a tier 6 level, because those kids are learning how to play. They're getting lots of ice time, they're getting to play different positions, they're getting a feel for the game and how to play it, so that if next year they come back and they skate like 100 miles an hour, and they're going to get tiered up where it's even more competitive.
I'm going to go against my own thought here, Bill. I'm going to go against my own thought here. Shouldn't they just play, though? Shouldn't they just play? Like, shouldn't there be there? Does there have to be an end game?
Okay, so
does there have
to that point,
couldn't kids just play?
To that point, Podlie, it's partly what Bill said and partly what I said, right? To that point, I would say that they will play if you put them together. That's a great picture. I should have posted it, and I didn't know it was relevant to this conversation, but maybe I'll post it later. It's an interesting picture of out in the middle of nowhere. You got these slum kids, and they made a little little tiny goal, and they're playing soccer, but the goal is like this big, and they're playing bare feet and everything else. So I'll post that. I didn't know the picture. I love the picture. I didn't know it was relevant to the conversation. So they can play, Podlie, and just let the kids play is a great sentiment as far as I'm concerned. The problem is, when you look at the greater picture, are these kids going to continue playing without that extrinsic validation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? That's really the question, right? And whether it be a participation medal or an actual medal, like the Stanley Cup, which the Oilers are not going to see this year, the fact of the matter is that hurts. I know, right? Trust me, buddy.
That hurts.
That's external validation.
Get that in there,
right? Yeah. So in my mind, I would say that I'm okay, and maybe I should qualify this. You guys probably would know me, and if anybody were to guess my stance on this, they would tell you that it's probably I'm the person that says no, there shouldn't be any participatory medals. You show up, you do your best. If you win, you lose. If you win, you win. You lose, you lose. Anybody who knows me would think that I would take that stand. But in considering it, just since I got in the car, in considering it, I'm thinking that maybe, the age notwithstanding, I think a stage of participatory meddling, whatever you want to call it, might actually be a valid societal process.
And I think there are still leagues out there, I use the term league, that are fun leagues for kids.
Right.
So for those kids that don't want to get into that competitive nature, they're not there to play to win or
like a community league.
Like community leagues.
Yeah.
So there are those options for soccer and baseball, and I think there's even some hockey ones out there as well, where they're not interested in being competitive. They just want to go out and play and have fun. And
listen, having said that, I used to play community volleyball.
Yeah.
Last night I used to play community volleyball, and I tell you what, if I ever did a smash, especially at my size, I would say, in your face!
And you would be owed every second of that, brother. You'd be owed every second of that.
So even that's competitive, right?
It is. I'm going to bring Leslie Ann's comment. I had it up for a bit, but I'm going to bring it back up here.
Bring it back.
So it says, about 8 years ago, I learned that they studied the coincidence of adults in professional hockey, with most having birthdays in the same half of the year.
Okay.
Wow.
Then she goes on to say,
Okay.
they don't know who they are. They just heard about it from a hockey dad.
Isn't that something?
Huh.
Yeah,
Isn't that something,
interesting.
Leslie?
Huh.
And then what does the transition look like?
Yeah, that and Leslie, and you kind of took the words out of my mouth, because I keep talking about age and at what age, because I'm kind of on both sides of this argument. That's a good question. So if we do it where we have two different systems in our society, where we have this participatory reward versus the win-lose model, what would be the demarcation age? I guess that's a great question, Leslie. What would be the transition? What would the age? Where would the age be? And how would we transition from a participatory model to a competitive model?
So then let's flip it away here. We've got about 9 minutes left or whatever.
Oh wow, this episode.
So let's flip it over to those kids that want to get into the arts. They want to be actors, actresses, musicians, whatever the case might be. So now
that's a whole different ball game.
The kids, there's a play coming, and it's for kids. The play only has roles for 8 kids.
Yeah.
So there's going to be 30 kids that maybe fit those roles that are all interested in it.
Yeah.
So do we just say, okay, we're going to book all 30 of you, and you each take a turn playing that role over the next few nights? Or do we still make them audition, because there's only 8 roles, but there's 30 kids auditioning, male, female, and so now how do we do that? There's no participation medal there, because only 8 kids can be on stage each night.
Well, we'd have to revert back to the grade ones, I think, where we have a Christmas concert.
Yeah,
and they all get up in the ensemble
process. Yeah,
right. And they get up in the ensemble and sing, and then we would have to eliminate all such things. Yeah. So, Bill, to your point, I mean, that's a great point. The fact of the matter is, and again, right, like I said, I'm on both sides of this fence.
I am too.
And I think that's a valid point, because what do you do?
Yeah.
And that's what that harkens back to what Leslie was saying earlier. Everything's a competition. Even getting into a college, there are only so many spaces.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, not everybody can get into the U of A. You have to
apply and go through that whole process.
Yeah, the process, right? So in terms of that, 100%, and especially when you go to the arts side of things, right? I mean, you're not going to put somebody on stage that can't hold a tune.
No.
Right. I mean, you're just not.
You have to have some clout,
some benchmark,
talent.
Oh yeah, right.
Like,
and it has to be a benchmark, right? If you're going to go on stage and perform, you better be able to hold a tune. I mean, you might not be, Paul Simon, or you might not be, Art Garfunkel, but the fact of the matter is, you should be able to hold a tune. You should be able to present yourself.
Or Depeche Mode.
Or David Draymond from Disturbed. Hell of a concert, by the way. Hell of a concert. Cool. By the way, James Guffroy, thank you very much. You helped make a memory with my almost 11-year-old son and I at the concert. So I want to give you a very big thank you for what you did for my son and I. It was amazing. Thank you, James.
But so that's, just looking at that route, right? So, and there's a lot of kid shows that happens. There's a lot of kids, theatrical groups out there, organizations where kids are, learning, going through the process of learning. Citadel has I went to the Citadel school when I was younger.
Did you?
And, and then I ended up doing a show at the Citadel. Then I ended up working at the Citadel.
See, I knew you did a show and worked, but I didn't know you were at the school.
I did go to the school there as well. And it's, it's great because, you get all the fun and you learn, and they do, a show together. So everybody's in it. Right? But when you jump out of that point,
now it's competitive.
Now what's next?
So let me ask you this then, Bill. What about in the education system? People say you can't give zeros. I mean, teachers have been fired for giving a zero, right? I mean, I was vehemently opposed to that.
I taught at Grant MacEwan. So I taught this was quite a few years back. I got, I was still working in the audiovisual field, but the person who headed up the one program I took at Grant MacEwan asked if I would come back and teach a program. So I did. I went back and teach. I had to fail a couple of students. And part of it was due to lack of participation and not getting things in on time, or just shoddy stuff. But and now you're not supposed to give kids F's.
Yeah,
you're not supposed to give them, like you said, a zero or anything. Thing like
Why
that.
are you vehemently opposed to that? Your words.
I was vehemently opposed to it because it teaches kids that they don't need to excel in anything in order to get pushed up, not necessarily rewarded. My theory was
I don't need to work, basically, because I'm not going to get a zero.
No, but it's even exactly.
No, wait. So you're vehemently opposed to giving zeros. Is that what I'm?
No.
You are vehemently opposed to the teacher getting fired.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. I'm
thank you.
vehemently opposed to pushing kids ahead. See, this is different, and yeah, so we agree, Paulie.
Thank you.
Where my issue with that lies is more about the child. If the child doesn't do the work to understand grade 3, but he cannot fail, so then he's pushed up to grade 4. He doesn't understand 3 yet. How in the hell is he going to understand 4? And then how in the hell is he going to understand 5 if you have no foundation?
And he's going to get ridiculed by his peers.
On top of all of that.
And there's going to be some emotional problems
100%,
to go, oh,
100%.
boy, am I with you on that one,
I
baby.
detest that idea.
Oh,
I think there has to be a failing grade, and because that, again, like I said, as far as the sports thing, as far as the participatory medals go, if it does not affect their lives, but it gives them space to become who they are.
That whole different
education is a whole different thing. I mean, would you like your nurse to have been pushed up? Would you like your right? Would you like your doctor?
My proctologist had better go through all of the education. All right,
with that baseball finger.
That's right.
Smell my finger.
Yeah, is his last name Squint?
Here's my thing. I'm teaching. I taught in another country for 3.5 years. There was legitimately the dean of the English department, who was of that culture.
Right.
Okay, the culture for the
cult
for the country for which I taught it in said you can't give them zeros.
You can't give them zeros.
You cannot give them zeros.
That is so detrimental to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I said, pardon?
That is so detrimental to the children.
You're completely right. Like you've already said it. Would you like your nurse or your doctor to have said they graduated, but they failed putting an IV in, and they failed doing this procedure and that.
I have a suspicion,
but they got in. Because you couldn't fail them.
I have a suspicion. that the engineers that designed the first road bridge that bent in the wind.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those guys. I'm guessing they got booted out.
I'm guessing they got in that system.
They got booted out.
You wouldn't want your pilot of your 737 to he failed in the simulator test 3 times, but we couldn't fail him. But anyway, he's your pilot today.
Hey, I don't know. Don't quote me.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, my proctologist is an excellent man. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
And I don't know. I don't know if this is a true story. I think it is. But there's a story about a bridge being built in Vancouver, where they built the bridge but never considered the load that the bridge was going to hold.
No!
So the bridge was perfectly fine until you put a load on it.
No!
Ouch.
I'll bet you that was a load for city council.
I don't know.
That was definitely a load on their mind.
It kills me. No kidding. But the fact of the matter is that's what that education system is bound for. And if anybody can't see that, I'm sorry to say this, if you cannot see that, you are delusional.
We're down to about 2 minutes here this evening.
It's unanimous. Hey, did we all agree on something?
No, we didn't.
No, there was a mix. We were going back and forth. So
yeah,
but I'm pretty sure we came around to all agreeing
on the education side.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're down to about 2 minutes left here. Not a lot of comments coming in tonight. I just wanted to quickly mention too, we got to 30 subscribers.
All right.
So our next goal, we got to get to 40.
To 40.
It's all yours there, Cliff.
All right. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for showing up. As I say every Monday night, I speak for the 3 of us when I say this would not be the same without you guys showing up. So thank you. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for joining in the conversation. Please do show up next Monday. Please do share this podcast, whether you like it or even if you don't like it, do share it for us because we're trying to build this page. And if you happen to have missed it for some odd reason and you wish to listen to it later, Mr. Bill?
You can listen. I'm sorry. I'm just jumping to Leslie Ann's comment here really quick. The bridge problem was that they didn't account for the extra load of the ice building.
Oh, in Vancouver.
In Vancouver.
Canada, by the way.
In Canada.
And you have a great weekend as well, William. So anyway, if you missed tonight, this podcast is still up on our YouTube channel. So you can still go there and rewatch it with all the comments again. Or if you have time just to listen to the audio, go to soundsugarradio.com. I have my hat on. 10 o'clock on Friday nights, you can hear the audio portion of it. So, or do both. Go back and rewatch it again on YouTube and or listen to us on soundsugarradio.com 10 o'clock on Friday nights. So next week is 151. We'll let you guys know because the next Monday is the long weekend of the May long weekend. We'll let you know if we're actually on or if we'll just have a replay airing that night.
You guys going anywhere?
But I will.
I don't think so.
I will be around. So we'll see
I'm
how
around.
that all happens.
I'm around.
All right, everybody. Well, I guess that's it.
Stay happy.
We'll see you all next week. Have a good one.